Grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. I'm Justin B. I'm the host of this RICO 12 project and the steward of this project, and grateful to be there. And I am the son of an all-powerful, all-loving, and a God. I am the son of an all-powerful and all-loving, perfectly loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships, living in the miracle of recovery. And I'm here with Nikki M, the intelligent agent spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and my co-host of this project, Noodle It Out with Nikki. Nikki, come talk to us for just a second. Tell us about what's going on in your life.
Well, what's going on in this moment is my internet's acting weird. So you'll have to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down because I'm still everybody. Hi, I'm Nikki M, a child just like Justin of a loving, all-powerful God. I'm so grateful, but I'm also a little lazy and I still am afraid of technology. So I've only got my phone here and hoping for the best and the computer, but we're here doing this podcast, excited to serve everyone who has an ear to listen and be part of.
Thank you, Nikki. And so far, so good. Technology is working out, at least with the recording part of it. So happy to have you here. You know, in this project, the Noodle It Out with Nikki project, we come together every week and we just kind of bring some questions that come either through the WhatsApp group, the Noodle It Out with Nikki WhatsApp group, in our interactions with our own sponsees or others we talk to and work with in recovery, or from our own lives. And bring those to you, Nikki, for you to deep dive with us through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous to find answers to those questions. And today, I bring a question from something that you brought to me, Nikki, about seeking God. And what I've done here is I've taken a sentence from the Big Book on page 46 that says, "We found that God does not make too hard terms with those who seek him." And you know, I come at this either from a newcomer's perspective or at someone who is really struggling with this concept or with a relationship with a higher power. Nikki, how do you seek God? How do you seek this power that, well, I have zero physical proof that this power wants anything to do with me? How do I seek God and feel that and recognize those terms that he makes with those who seek him?
Oh, this is a great question. And you know, a lot of people ask that. Number one, you have to stay in these rooms or make a decision to stay in these rooms. That's huge because this is a lifestyle. I think people just come in, and I have a friend, her name is Joyce M, and she's broadcasted around the world so you can figure out who she is. And she says, you just can't come on Sunday and do your, you know, whatever it is, your church day, and then go out and sin the other 6 days. So how do you seek God, right? So number one, every day you have to wake up and really make that decision that you're powerless and can't do life alone. So that's number one. And you need to know what it's, you know, sought. What does it mean? You got to seek it. You got to look for it. And how do you do that? Because that's a step 11 thing too, right? So right away, and I love what you said, Justin, is this a newcomer, an old comer, or just any human looking for this? Okay, so this is about improving your life too. This is not about maintaining. Step 11 says, we sought through prayer and meditation. Now, Nikki, I don't know how to pray and meditate, right? And you said God doesn't make too hard of terms with those who earnestly seek it. So what do you have to do? Number one, on page 46, let's go there because that's where you took us on page 46. We need to, number one, you need to lay aside your prejudice. Do you see that, everybody? That's like 1, 2, I think it's the second or third paragraph down. You need to lay aside all prejudice. What you've learned, Justin, I think it was this podcast or last podcast, you said or it was this morning when we did our set aside prayer, you even said, help us set aside terms. That's how you seek God. Because even the name God may ruffle your feathers or ruffle your scales, whichever one you're wearing today. So you have to lay aside your preconceived notions of God, even of your parents, of the human race. Like, go deep with this. I had to recently lay aside my prejudice of what they taught me about the earth. You understand? Like, go deep with these things. And then 2, of course, you have to express a willingness. You have to, I want, a willingness, I need, I have to have this thing, this power, right? And then it says, really that it's like, as soon as you can do that, you can get results, is what the book says. So that's number 1. Like, how am I going to seek God? Well, I've got to lay aside all prejudice. I have to do that even when I go to my church every Sunday, because I'm even going bigger than, I don't want to say bigger, but in a different direction of what they're teaching me in church. Sometimes you may be in a meeting, everybody in your 12-step meeting, you may hear someone share, don't take it as gospel. Go deeper, go and lay aside all the prejudice and go deeper and start seeking things for yourself. Why? I'm just going to keep my finger on page 46, but I'm going to look at page 80, I think it's 83, where it says, for after all, God gave us brains to use, or maybe that's 86. Let me see where that is. I think that's in a step 11. Oh, here it is. It's on page 86. That's where it is. It says, for after all, God gave us brains to use. What are you using those brains for? Are you using those brains to seek God, to lay aside all your prejudice and be willing? Like, this is real. This is deep stuff, is what I'm saying. I mean, I'm trying to get that through, because, like, go deep on that thought. You have brains. Like, we're not monkeys. If you're in Portugal, you're not a macaco, or in Brazil. That's the one Portuguese word I know. Macaco, you're not a monkey. We're not dogs. Like, really, we're not even fish. We're literally humans with brains. And even if it's been fried because you've been using crystal meth for 30 years, wow, it says in the book that we recover, and there's hardly any scars mentally or physically on us. So have hope, believe your book. So if you lay aside your prejudice and you get willing, okay? And then it says, right, I love this program. That's why I think I'm here. Like, if anybody were to ask me, where are you a member? Yes, I'm a member of churches and different groups. And I'm an omnist, all religions, all beliefs, all spiritual practices. I'll try, because that's what our book says. And that's what further down on page 46 says. It says, if you want to seek God, okay, right here it says, much to our relief, you don't need to consider another person's conception to seek God. So let's start there. Did you get a decent conception? If you're seeking God, what is your conception? Is it a loving? Dissect that with people. If they ask you, if your sponsees, help them. I use the Big Book Sponsorship Workbook. So we already give you in my kind of lineage, or how the way I sponsor, I would say, it's the spiritual principles is what God is. Are you being, like, this is to seek it. Are you seeking humility? So what does that action look like? That looks like, quiet, have God sit on your tongue. Because you got to break it down for people sometimes. What does it look like to seek God? Well, you've got to seek to be patient. How do you be patient? Well, page 59 says, may you find God now. Are you staying in the now? Are you staying? And this is a mental thing. Remember, you may not be able to, oh, Nikki, I've got to seek God. I'm going to sell my house. I'm going to do the eat, love, pray trip. My cousin did that. She quit her job. I love her. She inspired me. She dental hygienist, quit her job, went to the Middle East. That lasted about 6 months. You see what I mean? Like, we need a permanent solution. So maybe you need to seek God in your mind constantly. What does that look like? Are you seeking in your mind to be responsible? So what does that look like? Maybe you need to do a to-do list. I had to tell my son the other day, and you know me, Justin, because you told me you love when I spam this video out, the military video of the officer, the naval officer, who says, you start seeking God. He didn't say it that way. I'm paraphrasing to adapt to our talk. But you start to seek whatever it is you're doing by making your bed every day, because you won't get far if you don't make your bed. That falls into the principle, the spiritual principle of being responsible. That's how you seek God, is really through a book when it has a whole chapter and we can't go through it line by line. It's called Into Action. It's into action. And my friends who love cocaine, benzos, that doesn't mean call your dealer. That means get up and get into action, sir. Make your bed. Are you planning your food for the day? Or you just think you're going to drive through McDonald's? Because it's not going to work for you like that. This is a lifestyle. So what does it mean to seek God? You know, what things are coming up for you as I talk and noodle this out? Let's noodle it out a little bit, Justin, because a lot of people, it's in the book, but there's a lot of actions and real life experience, strength, and hope that comes with seeking God. Yeah,
Nikki, I really appreciate that you're going through these action ways of seeking God. You know, so often someone like me, or from my background, seeking God means, oh, I'm going to hit my knees and I'm going to pray and I'm going to do these, you know, pray. And that's what it is. And yes, I know that there's power. I have experienced power in prayer, but prayer without action is worthless. Prayer without getting up and doing something is worthless. Another experience I had just yesterday, and you and I touched on this before we started recording, but I want to share this because I think this is a really cool way to seek God and to experience God in my life. I went to a step workshop yesterday here locally in Spokane, and was with a group of about 30 other people doing the steps, and we worked through the first 7 steps in the time of that workshop. And you know, after finishing step 4, the facilitator of the workshop said, all right, everybody, what do you say we let God choose who your step 5 partner will be? And I thought, well, what does that look like in a room like this? Are we going to put names in a hat and just draw them out? What's that going to look like? And he said, well, I want you all to line up here in the order of your mother's maiden name. And so we all lined up, and I was put next to a guy that I'd never met before yesterday. I'd never spoken to, somebody who I know nothing about. And I'm going to share my step 4, some of the deepest, darkest things of my life. And he's going to share his step 4 with me, some of the deepest, darkest things of his life, the most traumatic and difficult things. And I tell you, it was God who put me and that person together. And I saw, as we sought, we had a common mission. What was it? We commenced shoulder to shoulder in a common cause, and God was there. As we sought God, God made himself manifest in that step 5 and later in our step 7 as we did that together. And that's just one way that me trying to, let's see, we had to quit playing God. It did not work. When I try and hey, I know this guy over here, I would like to share my step 5 with him. It would not have been the same experience. God knows better. And that's kind of where I'm going with this. Seeking God is kind of set back and let God be God and me be an agent, an employee, an independent contractor. Any thoughts on that, Nikki?
So many. I just love that. See, that's how Justin is seeking God today, right? He's improving conscious contact. So let me just go through what you just were saying as I can get my thoughts here. You live a 12-step lifestyle. That's number 1, because I know you're in other things, you're in other religious things and other things, but number 1, the 12-step comes first. So see, these workshops won't work unless he puts his 12 steps all day, every day first. See, that's first. So that's what I want to say about this seeking God. It's not like he put 12 steps behind and then he's like going to go try workshops, and then he's going to go put 12 steps behind, and then he's going to go, you know, to eat, love, and pray, or go to a resort, or go. These things can only be helpful when they're powered by the 12 steps and your lifestyle of working the 12 steps all day, every day. Because had you gone to that, let's just say if Justin had just gone to that workshop without being powered by this power, you're still not, you see what I mean? Because that falls back into our human aid list. It goes back into, oh, well, I better, you know, I'm going to get a different book. I'm going to go see Anthony Robbins this weekend. I'm going to go to this retreat. I'm going to go, I'm going to go get another sponsor. No, it's seeking God. Once you're connected to this power, then all of these things you're able to see these magical, mystical things, right? Does that make sense? So what you just said is like, we live this lifestyle, and then we seek God while plugged into this lifestyle. And then all of these things, we're able to see the miracles even more. So I heard page 85 when you were just speaking is what came to mind. So let me open up my big book to that, because I think that's the page I heard, if I'm correct. It says here, second paragraph, and yes, it is. See, it's easy to let up on the spiritual program of action. Justin's been here for a while. He knows he's got to do this today. He's kind of buckled in and a lot of responsibility, but he still went on his Sunday. He's a new grandpa. I'm sure Sundays are important to see family, but he went and chose 8 hours to go seek God. That's how you do it. See, self-sacrifice and work, a price must be paid. Does Justin go every Sunday and do? No, because I'm sure that was planned for a while. And the other 4 Sundays out of the month, he's with his family. But, you know, that's what it is. It's being responsible, because it's easy to let up on this spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. And then here's your warning. You're headed for trouble if you do. If you do what? Go back. If you rest on your laurels and stop seeking this power, right? It says we're headed for trouble because this disease of self, this disease of alcoholism, me, self, this disease of our moral defects, right? It's a subtle foe. Our addict life is our only normal one. Still on page 85 here, it says we're not cured. See, that's why you got to know you got to seek God daily, because we're not cured. We only get a daily reprieve. And that's on the maintenance. Now I'm getting here. How do you maintain your spiritual condition? You improve your conscious contact by seeking God. Because Justin, I haven't been in your home. You haven't been in mine. But we're family people. So if you got a home, you got lots of people in it, lots of traffic. And then if you just maintained your house, but I'm sure your wife, after years of cooking for that family, and we got, she wants an improvement, new fridge, new dishwasher, new things. And, if we don't improve, this old house is just going to fall apart. We don't improve our mind, learn new things, sweep away your prejudice every day, have a new experience, try things you wouldn't try, invite different cultures, religions, foods, ideas, concepts, terms into your life. We have a daily reprieve every day. You have to seek God every day. They don't mince the words on page 85. They didn't say sometimes. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will. And what's God's will? Well, we know it. It's to live the spiritual principles, practice these principles in all our affairs, all our activities. And you're not going to do it perfect. And you're going to learn, like Justin said, he had this wonderful experience at this workshop. And that's going to be a wonderful, euphoric reflection for you in the future. A nice memory for you. And then when you go deeper and you seek God again and you do different things, these are the collections that we get. These are the things of value. Those are the things they can't take away. You won't lose that in a forest fire, Justin. Your memories, they're with you forever.
Yeah. And, one thing that I've really developed a working knowledge in my life is that concept. We start off each of our recordings with the set aside prayer, a version of the set aside prayer, to set aside everything we think we know about ourselves. And I took that attitude into that workshop yesterday. When I first registered, I thought, I'll go in, I'll just, I'll participate, I'll see what I can gather from this, but I'm there as maybe an elder statesman or somebody who's going to be more supportive than learning. And yesterday when I went in, I said, you know what, God, just help me set aside everything I think I know about myself, who I think I am in the world, and just help me have a new understanding of these things. And if I keep imperfectly, but if I keep that perspective in my life, not just in recovery, but in everything in life, help me learn something new, see something new, help me find truth, your truth, not just my truth, but your truth. Things just seem to open up, and I understand a lot more and have these. Well, I'm able to seek God, and God is able to, let's see, what's it say? When we draw near to God, God draws near to us. And I think as I'm willing to draw near to God, that reciprocal hand comes out and goes around my shoulders and said, "Hey, Justin, let's walk. Let's learn something." And that's a beautiful thing in my life. Any other final thoughts from you, Nikki?
Well, I love what you said, Justin, because as you were talking, it's like, yeah, I'll walk into a room like, I'm Noodle with Nikki. Don't you know I know the big book? No, I don't know anything. And I heard that like you, like I'm Justin B, Rico 12. I've got, you've got some recovery under your belt too. And we know nothing. We know nothing. So, the Chinese farmer story where, and people can Google it, and it's just like, what do we know? Nothing. I don't know. Oh, it's so great this happened. I don't know. It's so awful this happened. I don't know. So Google that. I love what Mark Houston says. You and I have never been here before. We've recorded Noodle a million times. Well, not a million, but a lot. And I exaggerate. And we're going to continue to record, God willing, in the future. But every time is a new experience. So I have my set aside prayer here, and let's read it. And then you'll take us out with the final thoughts. But that's what it is, because I have a big ego. And what does my ego stand for? I'm edging God out. I'm edging God out every time I walk in and think I know something. So the set aside prayer, and I'll just pray it over us right now. It's, God, please help me to set aside everything I think I know about myself, about my disease, about these steps, about life, and especially about you. I need an open mind and a new experience with myself, with my disease, with these steps, with your children, and especially you. Thank you, God. Use me, God.
Thank you, Nikki. And I guess final thoughts from me. I'm just going to basically read from page 58, 59. Remember, we deal with self. We deal with alcohol. We deal with drugs. We deal with lust. We deal with thinking, whatever it is. But whatever it is we deal with, it's cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. However you understand God, may you find God now. Everybody, keep doing this. It is so worth it, and you are worth it.